Good morning. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find themselves to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One, and I want to put this video out, just to show something, because I had some family visiting last night, and the movie Boys in the Hood came on. And everybody gathered around to watch it. Everybody was excited, but I didn't want to watch it. So I just told everybody to go ahead and enjoy, and we'll get together when the movie goes off. But the family members that were visiting, two of them in particular, Copper Colored Lifestyle, how you doing? Glad you can make it this morning. This won't be long. This is just something that I just want to show a couple of my nieces. They're young, like 16 and 12. And the last time I saw them, they were like 10 and 7. But when I saw them yesterday, they hugged me and stuff and like, oh. So they were telling me how the stuff that I used to tell them when they were little, they still think of that stuff, and their father was cool with it, but the mom was kind of pissed off at me. And I want to give you an example of why she was always pissed at me and why Pops thought it was cool. So, when they were younger, they used to always call me old because I was starting to get silver hairs. I don't call them gray, they're silver. And they're like, oh, you old. But I was like, no, you can't look at stuff as old because the oxygen you're breathing is old. The water you're breathing is old. There's nothing new. It's just the way that you think, or the way that you think because you don't think. So that was one of the things that they said. They always remember me saying, you don't think. You have to think. Don't do what nobody else tells you to do. Think about it. So when this movie Boys in the Hood was on, they were like, how come you don't watch it? And I was like, because it's bullshit. It's garbage. And so they wanted to know what I meant by that. So this is what I gave them last night. And I want to share it with you guys today because maybe you can share it to some of the youth in your family and it'll make sense to them. They could see it as time goes on. Because when they were here, when we were with family, we were just talking about how we're just at one point in the family. It's them. They're young. They're 16 and 10, 11, 12 years old. And I have to tell them that I was once 16, 10, 14. Their mother was once that age. Their father was once that age. We're just replacing their mothers and fathers, my mothers and fathers. My children replace me. All that is just a cycle. And in that cycle, you have to learn. You have to learn. If you don't learn, you'll be frustrated and mad and stuff. And this is the point I wanted them to point out too, that they didn't want to be that way. Just look at something truthful that they wouldn't want to give their children, or they wouldn't want to be caught up in. And if they were caught up in it, later on, they would learn that, oh, I got to change from this shit. That's what the seasons teaches us, to change, right? Right. So I wanted, I'm just me 69. Thank you. I'm glad you're here with us to get this, because I think this is important, especially for the young people. So one of the things with young Boys in the Hood, so this movie came out when I was a kid. So, they were like, well, how come you don't like it? What's wrong with it? And I knew right away that, they were into that worship type thing, TV, what other people's thoughts and ideas, how they take it on for themselves, and they act like it's wonderful. And it's really not. It puts you in a place where you never grow. And that's why the 85 percenters, they never grow, or they always get mad when you bring up truth. And this is what I want to share with you guys now. So with and the Boys in the Hood is just a little just the movie was just on regular TV. Uh, it looks worse than it did when it came out 30 years ago, maybe because it was on regular TV. You know how cable TV and all that other stuff put all these extras behind it to make the picture look better. Regular TV don't do that. They just put out the bullshit and hope that you jump on it. But I wanted to share this with them and see, because one of the things I used to share with them was music. They used to always love the music I played because I played the old funk, the old Al Greens, the old Isley Brothers, stuff like that. And they loved it. So with them remembering that, I wanted to bring that into the teaching moment so they would get it. So I'm going to share it with you. So here we go. So one of the things uh, I wanted to tell them is to talk to their grandparents about these artists that I'm about to share with you, and they'll tell you what kind of music they put out. So uh, the first cat I wanted to share with them was a cat named Al Green. Now, anybody who's my age, anybody who's listened to Al Green or know about his music, Al Green, I would liken him to like a modern day Maxwell. They're not the same, but they can't same in the same kind of realm. Always talked about love and you know stuff that you would want to hear. A guy and a girl would want to hear. So Al Green. But what I want to show you about Al Green and these next 5 or 6 people that I show you is the album covers that they put out. You see how they look on the album cover? See, they're smiling. They're in a happy mood. They're cool. Why? Because that was the energy they were trying to convey. That was the energy that was out at the time. Beverly Martin, how you doing? And everybody who's on, welcome. I think you're going to get a kick out of this. So this was Al Green. My mother loved him. All her friends loved him. Just like all the women today like a Maxwell. I don't know who the modern cat is today, but Maxwell is probably the closest I can come to Al Green. It's probably some other cats, but I've gotten out of music so long ago that I don't even listen to it anymore. But Al Green, if you saw all his album covers and forget about the clothes because they were this was in the 70s. You see what he looks like. You see what he was trying to convey. He was a good guy and that you should listen to my music. So then we go on to another cat. And this cat right here, everybody knows him. Everybody knows him, right? Right? Everybody. Everybody. Same thing. Look at him, how he's looking. And this was on all his album covers. See how he looks? Why? Because he wanted you, he was putting out some cool music and he wanted you to be drawn to him by the way he looked. By the way he looked. As again, this is in the 70s. So this is what I'm trying to teach my nieces or my cousins. They're my cousins. Look at how, things change. This is when I was their age, right? So these are the album covers. It wasn't the movies because the movies was horrible at the time, but the music and the sounds that were coming out at that time were off the hook. So then we move to another. We keep. I want to get a point across to them so they would get what I was saying, so they wouldn't think that they wouldn't be confused. There's another cat, and they know about him, Barry White. See how Barry White looks? He- He's alluring, trying to get you to be into him, right? Barry White, bad dude. If you never heard of Barry White, if you're young and you never heard of Barry White, check Barry White out. Cold cat. So here's another one. Everybody knows him, right? Right? James Brown, Godfather of Soul, music funk personified. James Brown. Now, so when you listen to people talk about James Brown, musically wise, I'm not talking about his personal lifestyle because let's face it, as we all come to learn, to get into this genre, to get into the entertainment industry, you have to open up your soul and give it away. Let's just be honest. That went on then, before then, up to this very day. So James Brown, but just look at his face. Look at the energy he's putting out because it's going to hit you later what happened. And this is what I wanted to get across to my cousins. So we keep going. And keep going. And here's some other cats. Everybody knows them, right? Jackson 5. That's Michael Jackson, second from the right, if you can believe it. But this is what they were putting out. Bad album too. Now, this is the time when they weren't the Jackson 5 anymore. They were the Jacksons. Probably some of the best music ever is when these brothers got to produce their own stuff. If you can get their albums, listen to any of their albums, it's called the Jacksons. It will blow your mind. This is an album, they Enjoy Yourself was on it. And they had some real positive messages and some cool messages too. I mean, at the time, I was like in the seventh grade when this came out. Music, the arts, the arts was still in school. So this was shaping the minds of future generations. So the Jacksons, but look at the looks on their faces. You know, they're happy. So then we go some some other cats that were at the time that was putting out stuff. This where it gets, and so this is the point I'm trying to get across to uh my cousins. The generations change because they're trying to get, because it's like as I'm older now and on commercials on TV, they don't appeal to me. They appeal to the younger generations because they know you'll go for anything, no matter how dumb it is, no matter how stupid it sounds, you will cuss out your mom and daddy just to get what that's being advertised to you. Then in my later years, these cats come along. And when these cats came along, me and my homeboy Rodney in LA said, uh-oh. Because if you look at the faces that they were putting out, it wasn't nothing that you want to be a part of. So this is Ice Cube on the far left. This is the look he always had. Now, it's 30 years. This is like probably 30, probably 40 years later. I'm sure he doesn't think the same way now. I'm sure he has children, family, friends that he doesn't think like that now. But remember, when you're growing up and you don't have a lot and you have something that people want, you'll do anything to make money, as we will see as we go forward. Now, all these cats I'm about to show you now, I'm sure they don't have the same mindset as they do back then. If they do, this is what I mean about You can't change. The 85% can't change because was telling some people this last time when we were doing this, they were getting mad. And then I would ask them to, well, explain why you're mad. Am I lying? No, you ain't lying, but you ain't got to bring. Why? These kids trying to learn, man, and you're not helping. So so this was the kind of art that came out then. It wasn't no Isley brother faces. It wasn't the Jacksons faces. It was a face that you put out so you would alienate everybody that's close to you. And that's what we've been getting for the past 40 years. But wait, there's more. Ice Cream Cake says, but they have so much blood on their hands. See, somebody gets it. I'm sure all you guys get it too, but somebody said it. She right. Ice Cube come from a two-parent home and was in college when NWA came out. They lied to their fans. See, some people get it. So this is the type of person that when you bring this information out, they get it. You get other people that are, oh man, you just hating. You just mad because you wasn't in NWA. For real? Here's another group. Everybody loves them today. Public Enemy. See, they got that sinister look on their faces. That sinister look was used against our own communities. Talk to your mother and father. Talk to your grandparents. Start getting scary. Huh? Now, even though this Public Enemy album was bad, I ain't gonna lie. The look, remember, we everything we look at, we take in, and we think that's the way it's supposed to be, and it's not. Because you'll see, and this is hip when rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, first came out. Now, NWA, you had a whole bunch of groups that put out some positive shit off the hook. But the music started changing because there was no instruments. And the cool thing about instruments is the vibration of the instrument, what the vibration does to you on the inside. Many of you know what it is, a lot of people don't. But when you have the strings of the guitar vibrating, it does something to you. The rest of the people that I'm about to show you, they didn't do that. They took music from the first group of people that I showed you and did something called sampling. And it changes the vibration into everybody. Yeah, seriously. Talk to your grandmothers, talk to your grandfathers, even your mothers and fathers. It all depends. Generation is 20 years, 19, 20 years. So some of you guys might look at it different than me. So this is the Public Enemy. So then, hold up, hit another one. Here's another. No. Ah. Then this shit comes out. This is when it got real bad because when the women get to that, that's really the last line. Because why? Because the women are the ones who birth us all. Women's are the one that birth us all. And so it's like, and here's a perfect example. I have a perfect example with my mother. Uh, so my mother was a big Christian, and I never got into it, even as a kid. She told me, if you can explain why you don't have to go to church, you don't have to go. And I explained it, and she was like, "Well, damn, you don't got to go." But my mother used to say, "Well, we used to have these conversations about God." And I'm like, "Mama, you so stuck in your stuff, you don't even you don't even care to think of what I think God is." So in trying to save face, she goes, "Well, who do you think God is?" I'm like, "You." And she was like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because you took care of me when I couldn't take care of myself. You could have aborted me. You could have gave me up for adoption because you was poor. You didn't have nothing, but you didn't do that. So without you, where would I be?" And this puzzled look came over her face. She knew what I was saying, but she was so much into Jesus that she didn't want to give it up. So this is a chick called Little Kim. When she was out, I really wasn't into her music, but beautiful young lady. But when you, like I say, when you get into this entertainment industry, you got to open up the soul, baby, so they can come in. So this is what happened. This is what happened to Little Kim later. And this is what I'm saying. This is what the African American is now. This this is the African American now. So that sister that I just showed you, this is her now. So this is what happened when the African American integrated. We stopped being ourselves and we became that, didn't we? Now, when you bring this up to the 85%, they get mad. And the reason they get mad is because they know you're telling the truth, but yet they know they still worship this. They still worship this. So that's why you have a couple of weeks ago, you had this cat named Special Ed. He was a rapper back in the day. And he said, hey, NWA, they ruined the sound of music. A lot of people I know got pissed off, but the cat was telling the truth. And this is why information isn't passed on, because this guy brings up a truth. You got the 85% will jump down his throat for telling the truth, lying, bullshit. And remember, all these cats is like the young lady said before. Most of these cats are millionaires because of what they did. Made sure that the 85% don't grow. Matter of fact, the 85% worshiping the ass whooping they got. Copper Color Lifestyle said, too many women walking around like this. Did your grandmama look like this? I'm talking about if your grandmothers were born in 1900, 1910, 1920. Did your grandmamas look like this? Did your mamas look like this? This is why the 85% never changes. They never change. Another thing that happened, uh, uh, let's see if I can uh, find it. Another thing that changed was right when this hip hop stuff came out. And this is why I say African Americans ain't Africans. When this hip hop thing came out, they changed up you. You were no longer black. Remember the picture I showed you of James Brown? He made that "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud" slogan very popular. was messing up the minds then, because remember, if you know anything about James Brown, and this is why you got to know stuff. If you know anything about James Brown and the music in that civil rights era, the indigenous artist was saying, "Yo, man, we gotta distribute our own music. We gotta have our own music companies." Back then, two of the main proponents that were about doing that, well, three of the main proponents who were about that was James Brown, Otis Redding, and Sam Cooke. If you know anything about the three, some bad dudes. Sam Cooke's get killed under some circumstances that don't even make sense if you hear them today. Otis Redding gets killed in a plane crash. James Brown was told, fuck around and find out. So then he went on his say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, but perming his hair at the same time when he was wearing his hair natural at first. This is how people are changed. This is how people are influenced. This is how indigenous people were influenced, how they're made to change because they want what these people have so much. They'll sell out to their families, right? And then what we do? So, so here's another thing that got us twisted. Miss Lisa Cypress, Accomax of Virginia, y'all, check them out. So you have people out here that are, look, the information is, listen, I am proud that so many people are getting on to this information. This sister Lisa Cypress and the Accomax of Virginia, dude, I mean, damn. You even got cats from Africa over here trying to be you because they know the 85%, they don't never get it. So check this out. And this is very important. Remember, let me I hope I didn't erase this. Oh no. Remember, when these people came out, that's when the term African hit. So they got you with a double dose of taking you away from your ancestral homeland. You got Negroes who will fight you and bite your eyeballs out. And why do they do that? Because they worship this. This is what they worship. This is why, I tell my cousins, my nieces, friends, everybody, you have to think for yourself. Don't eat the words out of somebody else's mouth and make them yours because you'll be stuck forever. I got a friend of mine now on her deathbed now. You would have, and you ever noticed that the African American, the clothes and the stuff they wear, Africans don't wear that stuff. It's an ideology. So at the time when hip hop was first started hitting, and I'm not saying all the artists were on that, they weren't. Most of them were. You had to be in order to get your stuff played. So the time when the uh, hip hop changed, they threw that Africa thing at you. And many of us, including myself, picked it up and ran with it. Remember? Isn't this what we done? So another thing that went along with that African stuff, Beverly Martin, no. Beverly Martin said, no, they did not dress tacky. They dressed conservatively. Yeah, I'm not saying they didn't dress conservatively. Negroes dress conservatively today, but do Negroes make their own clothes? No. We won't even think of that. Do we have a industry where we make our own shoes? No. But we will pump up while we're doing what we're doing. So you have all these people that have nothing to do. Wouldn't they would have something to do if we didn't buy clothes made in China? All these people that's bum rushing America now to get to your land because they already got your dollar. We don't even think of it. The average Negro don't even think about it, right? Right? Somebody got to agree with me. All we want to do, matter of fact, that's what the majority of us live for, to buy other people's products, right? Thank you, Alberta. Alberta. That's all we do. That's all we do. So this is another thing. This is another thing that we did. Check this out. We really got into it. Remember those? See, when your mind is getting taken from you, they throw everything in it. What does the Negro do? Oh, it didn't happen like that. Yeah, it did. You were just so much in the worship that you just went along with it. These images, these sounds, these ideas, this is what infiltrates our children's minds and make them what they are. Remember when hip hop came out, or at least, I don't know if they still do it today, I'm sure they do. All it was about killing yourself, you buying guns from somebody else and to go kill your brother, right? Isn't that what happened? We can look at back with 2020 now, right? Had a cousin that spent most of his life in jail, got out in 2010. Of course, he's right back in now. He got out in 2010. Man, what happened to the black people? Where'd everybody go? You killed them all, remember? Well, now you're talking about killing everything. And so now we're in a position now, we looking real bad because this is the kind of stuff we get into. Forget ourselves, forget about who and what we come from, and start being all this other bullshit that's put in front of our faces. This would happen in the past 50 years. So forget about the time. Time is irrelevant. It's what's being put in your space for you to nibble on. This is what's given, right? Right? So this is how the 85% get stuck in. And the music today is way worse. So little Kim, what's the girl name who came out and said she was made to do this? Sukiana, whatever. I mean, this chick's talking about sucking dick and eating ass with a baby in her arms. You don't hear nothing from the Negro community. You don't hear nothing from the rappers who've done this in the past. You don't hear nothing. You don't say nothing. Beverly Martin said, "You're right. Our grannies made all the clothes. How come we don't make clothes now? Because we too busy trying to slap the shit out of each other for money to go buy somebody what somebody else do. Now you've seen the images where all the immigrants are coming over, army fighting men. Now remember, you got all these brothers talking about going to these places, going to get with these women, the passport brothers. The men and women of America are at each other's throats big time. So would you say from the past 50 years on to now, you see how they've been softening us up? They house Hispanic illegals in black communities, though there are several Hispanic communities nearby. Ice cream cake, you know why that is. They're here to replace you. We don't look at it like that because we want to look at something else. We want to go to the comedy club. We all Negroes do is like sniggling and giggling. Never on nothing real. Never on nothing that'll shed light on anything. That's why they call you black. Black means no light. What do they say light is? Intelligence. Statue of Liberty. You can see now because they're all the immigrants coming over were living in the darkness. They have a torch with the Statue of Liberty shining light, but call you black. And guess what you do? You get mad if somebody don't call you black. If you say you go to a bunch of Negroes and say you ain't black, you'll probably get your ass kicked. Won't you? Won't you? Nope, you've never seen nobody black. Never, ever. Yet, that's all we call ourselves. That's letting people, that's letting people who are coming from other places know these cats don't know nothing. This is what we do. This is what we teach our children. So everything I just showed you in this last 30 minutes, this is what's being put in front of you. This is what was being taught to your mom and daddy, your grandmom and granddaddy. Facebook user says they do that to get us out of our town neighborhoods while we just want to have a good time. It's time to wake up. The British and Europeans were the ones that separated the original Americans from Mexico. Yeah, they did, but it's not just the British and Europeans. It's the Asians, the Atiska people. Check those people out. We did a program on that. All these people are coming over because where they live in shitty conditions. They come over here because your people just made it. What? Civil rights? Your people did a whole bunch of stuff to make it better. Those people saw what you're doing and came over and wanted some of that and hijacked it from you. And well, they didn't hijack it from you, gave it to them because everybody deserved. You gave it to everybody. Now they're coming over here treating you like they were treated in their countries. And now you mad. So you see the brother in New York that went to that hotel and those immigrants came out and told him that he couldn't film in his own country. And it seems like he got it. Some immigrants who was nothing in their country, it's like that woman about 20 years ago, some chick from the Congo going try to climb up the Statue of Liberty or change. This is in New York. Chained herself to the Statue of Liberty, talking about freedom. Why didn't you do that in the Congo? See, everybody come over here to do what they can't do at home, but they treat you how they were treated at home. And guess what you do? Pray for them. This is what the 85% does. I'm not saying this is what you guys do. This is what the 85% do. We go for all the nonsense, teach it to our children, and if somebody comes behind and tell your children that's some dumb shit, you will lie to your children and tell them that the person that told them that is lying. This is what the 85% does. So this is what my cousins were saying. It was like, yeah, man, I was talking to them like this when they were 12, 13, 10, 9 years old, and they still remember it. So don't lie to these kids, man. Because I know people in their 60s still listening to the radio today, listening to that optimum tax relief sponsored music. So this is what I want to share with you guys. Look at stuff generationally. Look at what your mom and daddy used to listen to, what their mom and daddy used to listen to, watch, read, talk about, and you'll get the understanding of why you may do it today. And it may be some dumb shit that they were listening to. All my family are in the Christian faith. None of them, hundreds, have never read the Bible in their life. Haven't read nothing. Because I have to ask them because they always try to go in on me. And I ask them, explain, and they can't. They just tell you what they're told. And the 85% never, never think. They never ponder. They never try to figure anything out. They only do what they're told. That's why it never changes. Haitian is our real sister and brother who is indigenous Americans, not the foreigners landed in Haiti nowadays. Why do we serve the American government who doesn't serve us? Cecil Act. Why do we serve the American government who doesn't serve us? Because you a hoe. That's why. Not you, Cecil, but I'm saying the 85%. You do what you're told. And then try to act like that's not what you do when that is exactly what you do. You lie, the 85%, 99% of what comes out of the 85%'s mouth is a lie. The only thing that's not a lie if they say, hello, how are you doing, or something like that. The words that you speak. Check out the English language. When you guys get a chance, we'll do a program on the English language. So a sister called me and she said, well, why do you say the English language is a bastard language? And I'm like, the words. Damn near every word has 3 or 4 different meanings. They teach us the meanings that we want to know. Right? I mean, this is simple stuff. This is simple stuff. Yet we teach our kids to keep going that way. So I'm going to go ahead and close it down here, but this is what I want to share. Make sure your kids know this stuff. Because if they don't, 50 years from now, they'll be thinking like the 85%. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. It's a beautiful day today. I'm in the South, deep South, knee-deep South. It's fall. This is all that Halloween, Christmas, all that devil worship is coming in. Keep your eyes open, be on the lookout. Don't lie. And give these babies some truth. We'll see you next time. Peace.